Hi, I'm Diana Batarseh. I'm head of school of King's Academy, Nashville in South Nashville, Tennessee.
And I'm Jacilyn Goodwin, and I'm the Dean of Academics at the same school, King's Academy in Nashville, Tennessee.
We're just so excited to be here, and we're proud of you all for participating in this training and for taking a deeper dive, because we have both experienced the beauty of TBRI and why it's important in our practices and in our very lives.
Yeah, I believe TBRI has been transformative in my life as an educator, as a parent, and even how I engage with myself. It has transformed me.
I would agree with you so much. And in our school context, we have made that a priority for our staff. In fact, we start our training with our teachers every year. We ask them, I say every year, we're just in our second year. So for 2 years in a row, we've asked the teachers to come to our training with an episode from their lives, preferably from the grade that they're teaching, that captures the essence of who they are. And you and I brought our stories.
Yes, you brought a third grade story, I believe.
Yeah, mine was fourth grade. I was really struggling belonging, coming from an immigrant family. And I was supposed to do a cultural presentation in folkloric dress. Instead, my mom gave me a big poofy pink dress with a big fat bow. It was very funny. It didn't really work.
Yeah. And the story I brought was from me getting kicked out of kindergarten, which all of our teachers loved. And it's a great story to kind of begin the work of connecting with our teachers.
That's right.
You know, we really try to model the I do, we do, you do. And so my story allowed for them to begin the questioning of connection. And we really asked them 3 really important questions while they were listening. Do you want to review those?
So the first question we would ask as we were processing the story we had just heard is, what did you notice? The second was, what did you feel that child needed? And the third one is, as a teacher, how would you meet that need? What a powerful time. We were a group of colleagues that were just getting to know each other, but we left a connected team.
Yeah, we really realized that we are a storied people, that we walk into situations with a story. And we wanted our teachers to begin to understand that and to look at the stories that they're engaging with. And we want to build that atmosphere of connection before we give them the tools for that empowering. And I think we have lots of examples that this atmosphere of connection has really, are birthed out of it.
I believe that's true. I can think of a time when we had a student who came in from the playground and just absolutely had just flipped his lid. He was inconsolable, crying. And again, because as Jacilyn was saying, we've established this atmosphere of connection, we really feel that our students feel seen, known, and heard, as well as our faculty. And so I was able to move into this moment to help this student regulate. It was a matter of me just encouraging him to look at me and to match my breathing, try to help him slow down, try to bring some quiet, and so that he could finally come into himself and not be flipped anymore. And it was beautiful.
Yeah, and I watched you give that child not only those mindfulness tools to kind of quiet his body, but I also realized you took the time to empower him. You looked at him and thought through what physiological needs are going to be met, what ecological needs need to be met before you moved into that correction of the behavior. And I think we spend a lot of time with our teachers making sure that they too ask that question out of the place of connection. Then we move into that place of empowerment before we move into that correction.
That's right. And you mentioned the physiological. I mean, one of the first things we really need to acknowledge and recognize is that we live in bodies. We are embodied beings. And so at any given moment, some of the factors that may be contributing to our behavior or misbehavior is the fact that we're hungry or we're tired.
Or that we may just need to move. You know, we have a sensory need that's not being met. We may be looking at someone who's sensory avoidant or sensory seeking. So we have a lot of tools in our classroom to try to meet those needs, from fidgets, wiggle seats. We create quiet corners or peaceful corners or calm corners. We really try to meet those physiological needs for those students.
Yes, we have a story of a student's family that had a loss, and the services went on for hours, and the student didn't get home till very, very late, and came to school super tired. And you may be asking, if you're an educator, well, I've got lesson plans to get through. I've got a lot to do. This child's going to fall behind. We acknowledge the importance of that academic rigor and the program that you're trying to observe, but it's not mutually exclusive. When you look at the needs of a student, you're going to find that they're going to eventually be in a place where they can perform at their best. We want to address the student body, mind, and spirit. So the student who was up very late was brought to our office. We have a very sweet little place for them to just rest. And so this student rested for a while, and everyone acknowledged the fact that the student was physically tired and needed to attend to that physical need.
Yeah, and we allowed for that space to happen for that student. We encourage our teachers to that. We want them to feel safe also. So those ecological kind of components are really important, and we make sure that those things are happening. We're looking at those transition times. We are really making space for that, so we know that the learning will. And it has shown to be so at King's Academy. We really try to empower our teachers with these ecological strategies, and we leave space for those in our classroom and in our time. And we spend about 6 weeks of the year really delving into creating those kind of environments.
I am so grateful for how you've led our school that way. It's been really powerful. And while it might feel indulgent to take the time to figure out how you're going to walk in a line, or how you're going to hang up your backpack, or how we do a morning meeting, or how as a young student you're going to take out your lunch pack, these things may feel like luxuries, but really you're establishing an atmosphere. Again, even that is empowering to our students, to have them know what the expectations are, and allow them to step into those because they've practiced, and there's been a lot of kindness, and we see it as discipling our kids and training our kids versus here's what we expect you to do, the unknown, and then we'll stop you when you're not doing it right.
Yeah, and so we really spend a lot of time creating rituals and habits and being proactive about our transitions and knowing those places where that feeling of felt safety may leave for a moment that a child needs guidance through. So we spend so much time kind of looking and expecting that and then preparing for it in our classrooms. And one of the beauties is that we have this idea of coherence and fidelity across the school. We are all practicing for this first 6 weeks, creating these felt safe places and these routines of connection before we ever engage with the correcting.
That's right. You as an educator, I'm sure, have had students who've come in, they're nervous, they're shy, or they're just all out, just having a meltdown. They're not aware of what to do. And, I had a situation where I had a student come in first day of school, and I asked him how he was, and he said, well, I'm nervous. And rather than talk this child out of his nervousness, my words to him were, I think it's amazing that you're aware of how you're feeling. That is incredible. I am so proud of you that you know that you're nervous. And I don't think he was expecting that reaction. But then I said, I'm going to check in with you later, and maybe you'll still be nervous. But it may be that you're excited or happy or peaceful. Let's check in a little while. And it was disarming enough and also empowering, because it wasn't that he was presenting with an emotion that I was going to try to talk him out of. Instead, he was himself, and I received and accepted where he was and acknowledged how wonderful it was that he could name his emotions. So that is another incredibly important way to empower our students.
Yeah, and you really did so many proactive strategies while you were engaging with that student, listening to his voice. You gave him the option of being nervous.
That's right.
And that really allowed for him to feel safe in our school and to engage with, at that moment, he was about to go to chapel. And so, we try to live out of these proactive kind of states, and yet we do equip our teachers in the correcting using the TBRI model with these responsive strategies. And we really do stick to that ideal model, making sure that the teacher is immediate when looking at a behavior. There's an immediate, direct, and efficient response, that it's action-based. We always never want to level that behavior at the student, judging the student to be bad, but really asking what need is this student trying to meet with this behavior, and then leveling the response there with maybe a logical consequence, doing lots of redos. We always start out of a playful engagement and then respond accordingly.
That's right.
But I think we've both seen that at our school, we don't have a lot of opportunities to practice responding to this, to higher levels
of correction. You're right.
Because we catch so much at the beginning.
That's right. I feel when you have an environment that is connected and where the students feel empowered, there is minimal need for correction. And there definitely is. And when those moments happen, one of the things that we strive to do is to, like we talked about before, that connection has happened, the empowering has happened, and then we try to walk the student through owning the responsibility for what they've done in a manner that is honoring to them. I like to say, all of us will have moments where we'll have to repair, and I do, and I'll do that all my life long, and I'm so proud of you right now for telling me that thing that you have done. It's so good. That moment of confession is so powerful that you can do that. And then bringing them through the steps for repair and restoration in relationship. What is forgiveness? How do you receive it? How do you dispense it? And it becomes really a celebration. Rather than a punitive moment, it's a celebration that we are empowering and correcting a student towards a life-giving end of positive relationship, positive connection, not only in school, but really into their futures. Really, the bottom line is if you can think about establishing an atmosphere of connection, starting with faculty, to one another, and we don't even distinguish with leadership, just we're colleagues and friends, joined together in this common purpose. And then looking at an atmosphere of empowering our students so that when we get to the point of correction, it's really actually minimal, and then it becomes a celebration.
Yeah.
It's a course correction. Sometimes it's a little trickier than others, but we don't find that we are swimming in out of control situations. And even students who have come from former programs where we get a little bit of a warning like, oh, this student, we sometimes don't even see that behavior at all.
We don't. I think them being seen, known, valued, and enjoyed really sets them up for success and sets us for success. And I'm so thankful that we have tools like TBRI to be part of that success.
I totally agree. And we affirm the time that you're investing in exploring TBRI and building those muscles, and we wish you the very best.